Hello. I'm back really quickly too. Huh? Yeah. Touhou 13, 10 desires, 1 normal 1 CC with Reimu. Man, I don't know. I mean, obviously this is really soon. I got mixed feelings about it. I think this game is great. I think the afterlife mechanic is interesting without being too intrusive. I think the changes to how bomb pieces and light pieces work is interesting, but I beat it so quickly. I don't know, I'm kind of disappointed, I guess. And the worst part is I don't think I can even really be upset at anyone or anything in particular, right? I feel like I've just gotten better at Touhou games, and if this one was on the easier side of the bracket overall, then it was easier to someone who's played through a lot of these games at this point. So yeah, I got my first clear of this game on, it would have been Sunday, and I couldn't believe it, right? That was like my third run of the game. I recorded it. I have the whole run recorded like I normally do, but I never made a commentary on it. Because I went to the wiki and was like, well, is there any more to this? There's only going to be, and sure enough there was. There's a second ending you can get if you beat the game with 3 bombs remaining, as well as, you know, the normal 1cc stuff. So I set out to do that instead. I was like, okay, I beat this game in 3 tries. I should really try to spend more time with it before I make a video on it. And so that's what I did. And then, you know, just yesterday, so, you know, my 5th run of the game, I was able to beat it. So, you know, that's upsetting. Yeah, upsetting is the right term, but I don't know. I like this game. I wish I could have spent more time with it. I will spend more time with it. I'm talking about this game like it's dead. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's like a villain in a shonen or something that you really like and got killed too soon or something, you know? It's like, I wish we could have had more time with that guy. He was kind of cool. He was kind of interesting. But, you know, much like all great shonen villains, they will inevitably come back in some way as well, so... now I will be back to play Touhou 10 Desires maybe very soon, depending on how quickly I get through the rest of these games. But yeah, lots of neat system changes to this game. I figure I can start talking about the game itself at this point, right? Lots of neat system changes to this game. Probably the most worthy of mention is spell practice. It's kind of in the name, but you can go in there and just, boom, you're right in any spell card that you've encountered with whichever character you're playing as in whatever difficulty, right? So, you know, if you're having a lot of trouble with, you know, a final boss's spell card, you can just go in there and you're instantly in there, right? Which is really useful, right? Because you used to be able to do that before. You had to get a clear on the stage at least before you could do a stage practice, and even then, when you did do that, you had to practice the entire stage, right? And that's, you know, that's a ridiculous act. But that's no longer the case. I'm assuming going forward it's going to be the same way. You'll have spell practice, which, you know, just kind of further compounds to my disappointment because, like, I didn't get to use it at all. I didn't get to use spell practice at all. I didn't really practice stages in this. It was just, I went in my first run and made it all the way to Miko and then died. And I was really hyped about that. It was like, wow, I really must be getting better at these games if I'm doing this well. You know, that's cool, right? You like to be able to have cool, like, tangible, very obvious sign of your improving skill, and especially in games like this where, you know, it can be, you can get downtrodden. You can get downtrodden with the difficulty of them. But yeah, other than that, there's some UI changes here as well. You can notice that the health bars are around the boss now. That little blue notch is the point at which the basic attack or the normal attack switches to spell card. You can see right there. I do believe I lose my first life, quite embarrassingly to Kyoko here. I don't remember what happened, but obviously in this game I'm prioritizing getting my bombs, right? Because I want to have enough bombs to get the second ending, so I'm playing in a strange way, which is also worth mentioning about bombs and lives in this game. You get them not from the pieces like normal, but you'll notice there have been these little pink and green, I think they're prayers. They're supposed to be prayers or wishes, those little blue and white wisp things there. And collecting those fills up that gauge on the bottom left. You can see it's full right now. But there you can see those green ones. Those are bomb pieces. And that's the full power noise, I believe. But anyways, yeah, you collect those wishes or prayers, and they fill up that gauge at the bottom. And eventually, when and if you die, you go into this sort of afterlife mode, spirit mode, and you'll be immortal, quote unquote, and deal a lot of damage. And you'll be longer and more powerful in that state, depending on how much of that gauge and bomb life you have filled up. Bomb and life pieces, besides being that those, you know, wishes, are otherwise work fairly similar. With the one exception that it takes more life pieces to get another life, depending on how many lives you've gotten. So right now I haven't gotten one life so far, so I need 8 pieces to make my third life. But after that, I think it becomes 10 pieces, and then past that, it becomes 12, you know, so on and so forth. But it's not the case for the bombs. Bombs will always be 8 life pieces. Anything else? Yeah, I guess the prayers, or the bombs and life pieces now being prayers, interestingly means that they don't drop down the stages. So you see there, I have to kind of like push up and in, and I'm going to lose out on that life piece maybe. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, well, there's where I died. But now you can see the afterlife thing I'm talking about. On the left, you can notice the gauge is draining, and the timer on the top is letting me know very precisely how much I have left. But yeah, on a normal run that would be grounds for a restart, but since all I'm really concerned about is getting, you know, my 3 bombs at the end of the game, that's all I'm really worried about. And that's a great segue, it's a great reminder that you don't actually lose your bombs on dying, you might have noticed. Well, I think that also means you don't get any bombs upon dying either, which is really, it's an interesting change, right? Because before it's like, well, you know, I don't have any bombs left, so if I die, it's not the worst thing ever, right? I'll get 2 bombs back. I mean, I'll be down a life, of course, which isn't, you don't want to be down a life if you don't have to be, but, you know, at least I'm not dying with 2 bombs. Well, that phrase is no longer important. At least I'm not dying with bombs, because now you have your bombs forever. Or, you know, at least until the game over. Which, I won't be doing too much of it. So, you might have noticed there, like I was saying, it just went up from 8 pieces, 8 fragments of a life piece to 10 fragments of a life piece for the next life. And, yeah, that's about it in terms of game mechanic changes. Power is still the same. Small power is, you know, 100th of a power, or 100th of a power state. Counter bombing is still here. Point marks are still here. That's pretty straightforward, John. The big changes. In terms of this game being easy, I mean, it was easier than UFO and SA, Submarine, for sure. But I'm almost certain that's just a me thing. Or I say a me thing, I think that's just more an experience thing. Because I've been listening to the OST, and you know, people in the comments are like, oh, this game beat my ass. My first Touhou game, it beat my ass. And I think everyone probably gets their ass beat to varying degree by by their first Touhou game. This is probably still a more difficult game than... Is it? I don't know if it is, actually. I take that back. I don't know if this is... Okay, well, you know what? We're getting up to a point that makes me think of that, and it's this third boss here, Yoshika. I feel like these kunai really would have screwed me up big time when I was a newer player. This first basic attack's not so bad because it's pretty obvious where you're gonna go. But I would move rashly and erratically when it was not necessary to do so. And this is an interesting spell card I should really talk about right here. If you aren't sitting in the center, like 90% of the time, Yoshika will not die. You just won't be able to deal enough damage. It's very tanky. So you notice I'm ducking and weaving through the cart pattern there. Like, that's something I would not have been able to do as a new player. And a spell like this would have been a big issue for me when I was new to the game. Just all the little kunai kind of randomly strewn about, like that thing would have really tripped me up. Sort of thing would have really tripped me up. But yeah, Yoshika is an interesting boss. She's very tanky, as if you didn't get that impression already from the first spell card. And eventually she is going to start healing by absorbing all the prayers that appear around her when you damage her. Which I guess is kind of fitting because she's a zombie, but I don't think there's been a boss that just heals, you know, ever. And not before this at least, unless it's one of the extra bosses did that. I know Moko has like immortality, so maybe she had something of the sort, but no, not to my knowledge. And this is that one here, so you can notice there she will absorb those prayers around her back into her, and it'll make her health go up. I got kind of gutsy here. I was trying to get in her face and see if I could like steal some of those from her so she wouldn't heal. I wasn't able to do it. Everything still kills you if you touch it in this game, so don't touch bosses or anything like that just to get this. As you can see though, your shots are on point. Reimu, at least, doesn't have a problem just bursting through it if you're at max power. I've come into this boss a few times with less than max power, and you really feel it. You really feel not having the ability to close out those spell cards. And this is a really interesting stage here, stage 4, because this is, I think Zoom makes great use of the fact that, you know, your life and bomb pieces are static, or all these prayers are now static, right? Wishes are now static. So you have to go to the top of the screen to grab them, but you'll have enemies spawning at the bottom of the screen and like the middle of the screen to like mess with you, right? This game is kind of easy to control basic enemy patterns by just, you know, getting in their face and shotgunning them down like that. So it's nice that you played with where enemies appear on the screen there in relation. Right, you're first to the top of the screen, but enemies are now coming from the bottom too. And I think Reimu, by virtue of having the homing amulet on her unfocused form, really gets a lot of value out of it in this game because of that. Alright, you don't need to worry about going back down there to deal with enemies. You can just, you know, let go of the shift key and you'll get those homing amulets heading down there if that's all that's left in the stage. Super fun spell card here. Should start drawing some stuff. So you get these plasma balls that come out, right? And they're kind of sluggish. They'll move towards you a bit and then stop, and then they'll dash towards you. And then you get these columns of crystals or something. I can't tell. They're very tightly packed together. But as you can see here, it's pretty simple to deal with. You just kind of want to train them, like COD zombies. If you ever, you know, played COD zombies and went for high rounds and stuff like that, you know, you train zombies in like very controlled loops like that. And then You want to time it, of course, so that you are moving through those lanes as the balls are still. So you see I'm training down to here. I move up to train them up towards me. And I train back down to the bottom. And I notice the columns come out, so I, find a lane and head down it. And yeah, it's not too difficult at all. It's not too difficult at all. Here's another Reimu advantage here. You just kind of sit in the middle of the screen here and let your unfocused amulets or homing amulets fly, and they'll kill most of the fairies before they drop anything in the center of the screen. But it'll get busy inevitably. You'll have to navigate a little more carefully. That's also something maybe not worth mentioning, but Reimu. All the characters have had their loadouts fused in this game. So like Reimu, for example, has Persuasion Needle when she's focused and Homing Amulet when she's unfocused. I'm assuming the same is true for the other characters. Like I said, I got through this game kind of quick, so I never really tried to play with Marisa or Sanai or Yomu. But there's always after Touhou 20, 21, I don't know. We'll see how long it takes me to get through all these. Well yeah, here's a really cool fight. First, tag team boss fight, or multiple enemy boss fight, I think since the Prism River Sisters. That's pretty sweet. The general gameplay is not too different. Yoshika obviously is in front, throwing kunai and stuff out. You can attack her and damage her like you saw in that first spell card, and she'll disappear for a bit until Sega resurrects her. But I found it's usually just easier to focus on Sega. You'll get through the spell card faster this way, and the crap that Yoshika is throwing on screen is so difficult that you need to, I have to get Yoshika out of the way or I'm not going to be able to deal with it. This is probably the hardest spell card to deal with Yoshika's stuff on. She's throwing out those blue bananas, kind of look like Byakuren's bananas from UFO, and these plasma balls, again. Important to note is that if you do beat Yoshika, Sega will go to her body to revive her, so you can get some pretty free damage on Sega with that in mind, if you are going to go for that. Well, that's an unfortunate death there. Pretty careless, it just kind of strafed into a knife. All these games later, and these knives still really mess with me. Oh, right there. Oh, right there, okay. Yeah, I guess I just figured that knife was moving faster. But here you can really see the value of this Afterlife mode. I'm just pumping damage into Sega. Absolutely free. Ridiculous. Here's a cool spell card. I bombed, so I'm not going to be able to show it off very well. But the general rule is you want to be up in front of Sega here when the balls are out, and then when they start moving in towards you, you want to move through a gap like this, and then you can look for the angles, the hallways on the bananas, the blue bananas coming from you. Didn't have to do that because I bombed. But yeah. Maybe I'll splice in some footage from the other run. Because like I said, I did record the other run. Show off how to do that properly. Future Zach cutting in here to show off this spell card from before. You can see what I was talking about here with moving up into Sega's personal space and then falling out and then navigating through the blue bananas as they come. Let's wait for them to actually be down here. So you see there, move down back to the bottom of the screen, kind of sitting low, navigate, you barely dodge one there, and moving back up. I don't even quite get up, but the important thing is you don't want the balls heading straight at you at the bottom of the screen, right? You don't want to just be hanging out there. You want to move up the screen when you get the chance, so that when those balls are aimed at you, they aren't aimed where you are going to be. Instead, they're aimed where you were. Get it? Okay, on to the next one. Destroy like a ton of enemies. I have not thought enough about strategies for getting rid of all the enemies on the screen as possible. Okay, we'll talk about Tojigo's spell card here. So as you can see, these yellow arrow, I don't know what you want to call these trains, these yellow arrow chains, that'll do. These yellow arrow chains come out and they make a zigzag and a lightning bolt pattern. And you also have these yellow orbs that come down too. And in a strange sense, you want to be wherever the arrows are pointing, because the arrow is going to angle off that direction, right? So you can see right here, this arrow is pointing at me. And this is a bit far out still, so I'm probably going to move to the left a bit. Yeah. Yeah, you can see. You want to be in the armpit, I guess, the angle of the zigzag with the arrow chains. Generally speaking, if you just stay beneath Tojiko, these are all, you'll just kind of be in a good position generally. You'll have to watch out, because sometimes, you know, Tojiko will move on you and you won't recognize it and you'll be in trouble because of that. But otherwise, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Oh, that's a really sad death. That fairy just drop on your head. And I didn't mention it before, but the death rule for UFO is still in place. Dying, you lose 1.00 powers. I mean, it kind of matters more in here. There's no UFOs to blow up to get a bunch of power for free. But I guess you'll be spending a lot of time towards the top of the screen with all the wishes and prayers you'll be grabbing, so you'll be collecting everything on screen an awful lot without really necessarily meaning to. You see here I'm forfeiting power trying to go for those bomb pieces instead. And we're on to Mononobe no and she is kind of easy. She's got this arrow attack here. You can just kind of you can just kind of straight by it. I think I tried to slip in between it there. I believe when I died to Kyoko, I don't think giving up was the right word, but I was a little bit more likely to take risks, just because, like, well, you know, I don't need to worry about it. This run's kind of already off to a bad start. So yeah, I kind of thought I would have enough space here to get around this. I didn't, of course, but it was, you know, you can slip through there. I just think I was in a bad spot for a second. I know I slipped through it later, and I don't think the difference is in the arrangement of the pattern. This is a pretty fun spell card. Mononobe no Futo gets on her boat, and she flies around and drops these shining crystal kind of wakes, you know, wakes in water like that. They'll fall, and then as she glides past, she'll drop these rings of yellow arrows that'll shoot out. Generally, you just want to, like, unfocus and follow her, or focus, so, like, it makes more sense, I think, if you see it. So you see me unfocused following her there, and then I go into focus here to hit her while she's slowly going off screen. She's slowly coming back on screen, still being focused. Get around the wave, alright, get past the first wake, so I'm in between the two wakes. And then I'm going to unfocus and follow her across the screen. Focus again when she slows down. You'll be okay. You'll be okay, especially on normal. You can dodge through the yellow arrows pretty easily. there's significant gaps between them. Especially if you're giving yourself, if you're slipping through the wakes, you won't really have an issue dealing with the yellow arrows. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, you can see right there, I just slipped through it. I don't know if the gap here is bigger or not, and I just slipped through it there again. So I was probably just in a bad position before. I was not actually in the right place to be to slip through it.
Oh, you know, it's a true comeback story here. No lives left. But you know, 6 bombs. But I don't want to use my bombs, of course, on the 5th stage. All works out. Oh yeah, those giant peas are I mean, they're the 1 power pieces. I'm pretty sure they were in 12. Yeah, they were in 12. The New Way, glowing ball of light, New Way, big boss, will drop them. Okay, here's a pretty tricky spell card. So this big set of red and yellow balls will fall down, and almost always, I believe, Mononobe no Futo will drop the yellow rows of balls to keep you away from wherever she is on the screen, right? So essentially she's blocking you from being directly beneath her. What this means is you're going to have to kind of scramble a bit to get over. And obviously you don't want to die, and the column will come down on top of you if you're not careful. But you can see she's hiding over there. And I'm kind of looking for my angle to get through here. But that wall is pretty thick. You might be able to sneak through it if you're more comfortable with the hitboxes on stuff like this. Like, yeah, you could probably slip through that gap now that I have the hindsight to look at it like this. But eventually I pushed myself over enough that Mononobe no Futo moved, and I was able to kind of stay in my spot. I got scared there. You know, I thought the boat was going to kill me coming in on screen. It doesn't, thankfully. But, you know, if you were worried about it, or you're curious about it, you know, be of sound mind that Mononobe no Futo's boat will not kill you if it touches you. So this is a pretty cool spell card here. Not really all that difficult. You'll notice you just kind of follow the loops as they form. And if you get in the middle here like this, you can just kind of slowly rotate around. This is not, it's like a less intimidating version of Show's spell from the last game, over 12. But yeah, now that you're through that, now that we're through that, we're on to the final stage. And what a cool stage this is, honestly. That's probably the first thing. Zun's music direction in this game is really interesting. I think some themes are they hit a lot harder than others. But I really love this final stage, the music and the look of it. I don't exactly know where we're supposed to be right now. I know the whole point of this game is the yokai are trying to resurrect Miko, and all of these prayers are being gathered because of Miko's sainthood or something to that effect. And that's what this stage is made up of right now. So all those pretty dots and pretty colorful circles in the background are all the different prayers, which are the same things we've been collecting, you know, throughout the course of the game as well. So that's, you know, that's a nice way to tie in the game mechanic with the stage and with what's going on in the world. This usually does a pretty good job of, course. I don't know if I need to explicitly mention that. But yeah, I'm kind of just chill talking about this stage because there's really not too much to say about it. As you probably noticed just from watching already, you can focus down these greater fairies and the whole chain of those spirits or whatever, these little burning white fires behind them are. They all disappear in the same sequence that the greater fairies are. So if you break, I can try to get all through most of it. But yeah, good chance to get some life pieces and bomb pieces here. and if you beat all those great fairies down as fast as you can, as you know, it's a pretty quick stage, which isn't unusual, but it becomes pretty easy too. So, you know, talking about the music, here's a great theme. Miko's theme is fantastic. I know I mentioned at the end of the Touhou 12 playthrough that this is one of the only themes I had known, or one of the last themes I had known. I said that in that video, and then I realized shortly after that I know about Raiko's theme too. Anyway, I'm tired. Let's focus on the spells here, right? Let's stop talking about the music. Great theme on the boss. Is that surprising? Probably not. Alright. Let's talk about the boss now. So we have this first basic attack here. Yellows come out, yellow arrows come out, they stop, and then they transform into these 8 I don't know, spinning blue thing rings that showed up in Subterranean Animism. Not the rings themselves, just the little blue spinning things were there in stage 5. Much easier here, because they explode in a ring pattern. You can kind of visualize the different rings and just move through them like you would with any other ring pattern like this. So you can see there, move through one ring, move through the second, and you need to move through the third. Miko's also a really kind final boss. She'll like clear the previous pattern's junk before the next one comes out, such in this case. Which is good, because this is pretty much random, that last spell card was. But as you can see, it's not a huge threat. Once you navigate through the first volley of that spell card. Did I skip something? I did. I wanted to go back to the spell card. And one thing Miko makes up for, if not being all that difficult, is that her fight is really long. I mean, it feels really long. You know, normally these final boss fights are longer than the rest of them, but Miko's really does feel like it. So our column goes up. These arrows just kind of come out of them, and they don't really have a particular orientation or angle, so you just kind of have to navigate them as they come at you. Which, you know, if you do it successfully, like I was saying, it's not a big deal. Burst her down pretty fast if you manage to stay in the center the whole time. More of these rings. She's firing 2 volleys of these yellow arrows at the same time, so the rings will be interladen. But they are, at the end of the day, just rings, so it is not a huge deal if you know how to deal with the rings. And then here we are, another ring spell. She shoots out this massive glowing golden ring, which breaks into these 2 rows of rings, and then the orbs will shuffle, if that makes sense. You see they're starting to split here, and then that's your cue. When you see them split, that's when you want to go through. So, you know, don't go now. And you can start to see the gaps forming, right? And then there's your gap. Push through. Wait for them to pass. There's no reason to push through early. And then you can go in once the next opening shows up. And that's all that one takes, right? Just that cheesy. So here we are. We now have 3 rings. Screen can get kind of busy with 3 rings going on. But at the end of the day, it's no big deal. Do not worry about the 3 rings, 2 rings, or 1 ring. Here's a cool spell. So this kind of harkens back to Minamitsu's final spell card in the last game. You have Tojiko and Mononobe no Futo will fly around and drop these volleys of teal arrows. And they'll kind of follow you around the screen as they do. Miko doesn't really do anything. She'll recall them to their spot. And these 2 will always drop these volleys in sets of 3, right? So you see 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, and then recall. So if you ever feel backed into a corner and you're worried about a 4th set,
You know, just try and keep track of it so that you know when you're in danger and when you aren't. You see right there, I was kind of in a pinch because I didn't want to get pushed into Miko. But you can just stay beneath Miko while the recall's happening. Big ass knife spell. I navigated through this okay, like just fine on my first run through. But I got, you know, I got a little chicken. I got a little chicken this time around. Just bombed me around. Here we are back with this basic knife attack. I don't know what I call it that. You can see it's kind of just staying between the different rows of knives and watching for the other row. You know what I mean? You don't know what I mean? Okay, that's fine. I'm going to tell you a little bit more. So, here you can see I'm not doing a great job of it, but I'm moving within this row, this lane of knives, and I'm looking out for this lane, right? So I'm going to move through the gaps. I'm going to stay within this lane, but I'm going to move through the gaps that are made in these knives, in this crossing rows of knives. You can see right there again. I moved through the blue knives. And a lot of big jumps from my drivers. There we go. You see, alright, lining up to go down one row of knives. Here we are in the row. Bada bing, like this. You can see these are coming, and I'm going to slip between them without leaving the blue, the one I just outlined. And then past that point, obviously the row ends, and you can just go down the other row. But that's it, right? Once you do that, you can just sit around like normal. Here's this one's a trippy spell card the first run through, but afterwards it's kind of like that one Yugi spell card from Subterranean Animism with the big jelly donuts coming in off the screen, right, like diagonally. And much in the way that I dealt with that spell card, you deal with this one. You just need to look at the direction the balls are coming from ahead of time. So you're like, okay, this is a moment of peace, right? The balls can't hit you now, so you need to be looking over here, right? Because the balls are heading around like this. So you will be adjusting yourself as if the balls are live. So you can see that one coming there, and then I duck down. And then you just want to move up and down, right? Just moving left and right, not necessary. You're going to complicate things, you're going to get yourself killed. Here's another, not tricky spell card per se, but a pretty intense one. It's best to just go to the bottom of the screen for this and make small adjustments left and right as the balls come at you. There's really not a lot to say about it besides that. Pretty long spell card. Not that max power there. Pretty cool. Here, talking about show from before. Instead of shooting out a bunch of balls randomly, it shoots out these amulets. But it's a lot like that. I can't believe that. Yeah, I countered bomb there. That was, again, me just kind of panicking. I'm pretty sure I just crashed into an amulet that wasn't any threat to me. There's another reason I talk about this game like being easier for an experienced player and more difficult still for newer ones. It's because intuiting where these amulets are going to be dangerous is not something that's going to come naturally. Or, well, I mean, it'll come naturally, yes, but you won't
you won't be able to look at it and be like, ah, okay, that amulet can pass me by on its current trajectory if I don't move up the line. Like, no. And that kind of thing is not obvious unless you've seen these amulets in 5 other games already. Okay. With that, on to the final spell card. You'll notice Miko is very generous too. She drops a lot of big power drops that let you heal up. Heal up, I say power up, in case you die every so often. I'm just thinking about Jothran. The times I died on Jothran, I'm like, oh, I only got 0.6 from beating that spell card. Okay. I'm just gonna be moved for the rest of this fight, man. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward final spell card, actually. She's got all these lavender balls falling on the far edges of the screen. The ones that fall closer to you will pause before heading towards you. I think this is another spell card I do very poorly in this run. Not very poorly. I beat the run still, of course, but I think I do it a lot better in the first run. So yeah, I get killed right there. And you can see me dealing damage to Miko, although it's really not that much. She doesn't get bomb invulnerability during the final spell card like some of the other bosses have. But she doesn't take damage from the bombs either. So you'll notice the bombs go to her, but they aren't dealing any more damage. It's just the damage from my shot that's draining her life. So things get a little dicey. The amount of screen out a little bit closing, but like, that's nothing too scary, right? The big point is to just stay within the gap. Stay within the gap between the balls, navigate around them. I think I'm definitely going to show off those other ones because right? Because this is not a great showing of it, and you know, I feel kind of beholden to give as much information I can about this game as someone who has not had to spend much time with it. Okay, here I am again with the last spell card, Future Jack, talking about, or showing off, I guess, how to do this a little more properly. You'll notice I'm kind of sitting towards the top of the screen, the top relative to where the boss is, letting the balls go up, and then moving back down. So with the balls, when they fly up like that, you don't really want them to fly down at you, of course, and hit you like that. You also don't want them to fly out to the sides, because that will take off room for you to move. So it's helpful to be on above the balls when they start heading toward you, then they'll fly up the screen and out of the way. And that's good, we'd like to see that. You can see me kind of cycling around here. I go for a counter bomb here. And that gets me through. So yeah. Not a super tricky final spell, but all in all, not too easy either, right? It's still a final boss's final spell card at the end of the day. Alright. But yeah. Other than that, Touhou 10 Desires, pretty cool game. It's a shame I beat it so soon. I'll say again, it's a shame I beat it so soon. Only for the fact that I have to move on. I don't have to, you know, technically, but yeah, I'm really enjoying doing this normal 1cc challenge, going through each of these games. So, you know, I'm not gonna stop just because I beat a game too soon. You know, if anything, it'll give me something to look forward to when I'm done. Like, I was like, oh, I gotta try 10 Desires on hard now, or I gotta try playing as Yomu or something. You know, like that's nice. It's nice to have something to look forward to after it's all over. But anyway, thank you for watching. Hope any of this was useful to you. And I will see you in Touhou 14 Double Dealing Character. Thanks. Bye.